Hello, in this video we'll show you how to drill down from AppPulse Mobile to AppPulse Trace for problem isolation. After watching, you'll understand how to use AppPulse Trace to isolate server-side problems encountered in a mobile application. You use AppPulse Mobile to monitor mobile apps and to learn about how your end users are really experiencing the app. With AppPulse Mobile, you can isolate client-side problems. AppPulse Trace, on the other hand, monitors transaction flows through server backend tiers, and you can use it to isolate server-side problems. But what happens when a mobile app user experiences a problem that is caused by a backend server issue? For example, if a user receives an error message that a service is not available, how can you know which service failed? Since AppPulse Mobile and AppPulse Trace are seamlessly and smartly integrated, you can drill down to AppPulse Trace directly from AppPulse Mobile to find the root cause of the problem. Let's take a look at a sample use case. John is one of the developers of the Advantage mobile banking app and has been asked to help troubleshoot an issue occurring in the application. Users are complaining that they are unable to complete money transfers in the app. This is obviously of major importance to the bank, and John must investigate and resolve the issue quickly. In AppPulse Mobile, John views data for the Advantage mobile banking app. A key concept in AppPulse Mobile is the Fundex, which is the user experience index. John immediately sees that stability is the category with the most points lost in the Fundex, and of these points, most were lost due to errors. John drills down to view more details about stability. On the stability page, John scrolls down to view errors and sees that the action with errors experienced by the highest number of users occurred on the money transfer screen. John clicks the money transfer row to view an example instance of the error on a specific client device. John can select other instances to view by clicking one of the numbered tabs at the bottom of the screen. John sees that the error is an HTTP 500 availability error on a URL connected to fraud prevention. This is a server-side error, and John clicks the Trace Server Error link to drill down to AppPulse Trace and view a trace instance that refers to this specific failed request. In AppPulse Trace, the transaction timeline shows an exception, and John clicks the exception to display it in the operations method flow below, next to the specific method in which it occurred. John can view the exception details either by clicking the exception link or by opening the exceptions tab. John sees that the exception occurred because an external service has failed. John is not familiar with the flow of this transaction, but in the list of methods, he notices that there are two calls to other servers. John clicks the links for these calls to view more details. The first is a call to the bank's internal database, and the second is a call to an external fraud assessment service. Since this is a call to an external third party, it cannot be traced further. John decides to view the transaction log to see if it contains any entries that may help him further understand the problem. He clicks the log tab on the left to open the log. Here he can clearly see that the external call failed due to an error received from the external service. However, he also sees that the system did not recover gracefully from this failure and was trying to use a secondary service which was not properly configured. John realizes that there is a problem with the external service, so he contacts the provider, who fixes the problem so that money transfers work correctly in the bank's mobile app. In addition, John reviews the secondary service configuration, finds that there was a typo in the authentication configuration, and fixes it. Because AppPulse Mobile and AppPulse Trace jointly collect and persist data about the same request instance, one on the client side and one on the server side, John was able to drill down directly from AppPulse Mobile to AppPulse Trace and solve the problem. For details on working in AppPulse Trace, refer to the AppPulse Trace help. Thank you for watching.